Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Pinoy Abroad. So just making a follow-up video with regards to that video that I posted about 3 days ago. I still get questions from you guys asking me, is 34 bucks per hour enough to support a family of 3, or is $31 enough to support a family of 3, those kind of things. So I guess the question is, what should be your goal income that you should make here in the States to be able to support a family? So I guess that's the question being asked. And in this video, I will be going into details to elaborate these things to you so that you have a complete understanding of what income should I aim for to be able to survive here in the state. But before we dive into that, guys, I just wanted to introduce to you my new channel. It's called Viajerong Campero. We've been into camping and traveling lately. My family and I have been enjoying camping a lot the past few months, so I'd like to share with you our experiences and stuff. I don't want to mix it up here in this channel, so I decided to make another channel. So if you want to support me, guys, the link is above here, and I hope to see you on my other channel. Okay, let's go back to the topic here. But before we go into the details, guys, about how much someone should make in order for them to be able to support a family, I would like to explain a little bit about these 3 groups of taxpayers. And you have the single taxpayers, you got the head of the household taxpayers, and you have the married taxpayers. So and why this is important is because depending on the group of people you belong to determines the rate of taxes that you should pay the government. So for single filers, normally for single people, they have a higher tax rate that they pay. That's because they're single and they don't have as much responsibility like the married couples or the head of the household. But the head of the households don't differ that much with the single ones. So what I also did is I created a budget list, guys. This is kind of like a default budget list. This is like generalized. This is not exactly what your budget would look like if you're living in some other states that I haven't lived in. But this should give you like a general idea of how much you should be looking to pay or budget on a particular item, like let's say grocery and those kind of things. And mind you, these budget lists that I'll be showing you is it's very basic. You know, it's not going to include your Louis Vuitton, your budget for Louis Vuitton, or your budget for your Nike shoes, or your budget for your iPad, or whatever things that you want to buy when you get here in the States. This is just going to be the basic. Okay, so let's talk about the 3 taxpayers. Okay, so the first one on my budget list, guys, is for the head of the household. Okay, so when it comes to taxes, guys, generally the more you're making, the more taxes you're paying. Okay, but you have the brackets. Okay, so for example, if you're head of the household and if you're making $55,900 to $89,050, so if that's the bracket, that's where you belong to. Like if you're making within that range, then you should be paying 22% of those taxes. And sometimes your employer already take those taxes out. Your goal hourly rate should be $38 per hour, and you should also aim for 40 hours in 2 weeks, or 40 hours per pay period. And why that is because if you go lower than that, you can end up running out of budget. Okay, so let's go on the budget list here. So for grocery, I would go for $700 for a monthly grocery budget. And why that is because going lower than that, considering everything has been really expensive nowadays, guys. It's not like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, this would be probably lower. But then maybe because of the crisis in Ukraine, the war and stuff like that, everything has doubled up as far as prices. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in 700 there for you guys, at least, so that if you're not going to meet that 700, at least you have an extra money to put into your savings account. And then for the car, I would go for like $400 monthly budget, because if you're going to buy a car, I would assume that you're just gonna need that car for like maybe work, or go to the grocery, or maybe take your son or your daughter to school and stuff like that. So you're probably not gonna need a very fancy car. And then there's a lot of deals out there, guys. You know, a lot of people that come here to the States, especially if they're new, they don't have a credit yet. So a lot of lenders won't lend you a car, or will lend you a car, but they won't give you the best interest rate if you're new and you don't have a credit yet. So you're probably gonna have to pay extra, but make sure you don't go beyond 400 because that would probably be too expensive for a car. And then leisure, guys. So I know a lot of people come here to the States to work and to save up money for their family, and sometimes they really work hard for that. But you still have your life, of course. So I put $100 or $200 there for leisure, because you probably need to go to the cinema too, like watch a movie that you want, or you probably want to go out someplace to kind of like chill, or maybe like treat yourself. So yeah, $200 for leisure, and then home mortgage. So I'm assuming people that come to the States, if you're new here, you're probably not going to want to buy a house right away. You probably won't have the budget yet, for a lot of people at least. So you're probably going to have to be renting an apartment. So if you're the head of the household, I'm assuming that you have a family with you, you're going to have to rent something like a 2-bedroom apartment, because legally speaking, you can't rent a 1-bedroom apartment because just the law doesn't allow you. You can't rent a 1-bedroom apartment if you're a family of 3. So yeah, 1,500. I looked it up. I think the average apartment cost here in the United States for a 2-bedroom is around 1,200 to like 1,500. But I put 1,500 there, and in case it's lower than that, at least you have a couple $100 to put into your savings. All right, medical expense. Medical means like medical insurance. So I would highly suggest for someone who just came here to the States to look for the best insurance. I learned this the hard way, guys, because when I got off of my mom's insurance when I was in Chicago, I didn't purchase my own insurance. So what happened was I got sick, and I thought I was super healthy and I didn't need an insurance and stuff, but I ended up getting sick and had to see a doctor. I had to do some lab works and some imaging and those kind of things, and healthcare here in the United States is not cheap, I'll tell you frankly, guys. So it would be really wise to get a good insurance so that you won't have to pay hundreds upon hundreds of dollars in the end, okay? Because you don't want to ruin your credit. So if you can't pay those bills because you just ran out of budget, that's gonna go to your to the collections. It's gonna ruin your credit, and you don't want to start out here in the States with a ruined credit. Yeah, so that's for medical. Personal items. I put in 100 there because I'm assuming when you come here to the States, you're probably gonna have pocket money with you, so that you can buy your necessary clothes. Especially if you're coming to the northern part of the States, you're probably gonna need some jackets and stuff for the winter. So I put in 100 there for like a monthly budget. And then you have internet. Internet is very important because you probably need it for work too. Like if you need to do some office stuff in the house, and if you want to watch your Netflix and stuff like that, your TV, everything's through the internet. So you have internet there, 150. Normally it doesn't go higher than that. If it goes higher than that, it's not a good deal. So maybe shop for another carrier. And then you have your utilities, heat, AC, or your water. If you live in the northern part of the U.S., then you'll probably need heater because of the winters here. So that being said, I'll give you an example. We live in this house for about 2 years now, and there's only the 3 of us here. It's a pretty big house for the 3 of us, guys, but we've never gone beyond $150 for the utilities. Just make sure you turn off your lights when you leave the house, and make sure nothing's like on while you leave, like the fan or anything that will require electricity and stuff. So yeah, $200 is probably plenty, so I put in 200 there. Car insurance. So now that you have a car, because obviously car is very important, it's so necessary, unless you're someone that comes to the States for like just a short period of time, maybe 3 years contract or 5 years contract, and if you know that you're not gonna get your contract renewed anymore, and if you're just gonna get sent home, it's probably pointless to buy a car. But if you're one of those folks that are coming here and planning to migrate in the States, then a car is very necessary for you. Unless you live really close to your workplace and it's like a walking distance. So yeah, a car insurance would probably typically cost like about $100 to $150. But I'll give you an example. I have two cars and they're both full coverages. So I spent about $130 on them. So $150 will probably be more than enough. You're probably just gonna have to spend maybe $90 on a full coverage on just a single car. So yeah, like I said, if it's too much, then you have an extra money to put into your savings. And then let's go to gasoline, because like I put in 300 there, guys, because I think gasoline prices have gone up so bad in the past months or so because of the war. And so I put in 300 there. We have two cars. We're almost like hitting 400, and that's because we drive a lot. But I'm assuming if you only have one car, you're probably not going to have to use your car all the time, except if you have to go to work and pick up your kids and maybe drive to the grocery and those kind of things. So probably 300 is enough, or probably even more. Yeah, so you have your cell phone, $170 for a cell phone just in case you need an extra line for someone. But I'll give you an example. With T-Mobile, we have two lines right now. My wife and I are paying $140, and that's like unlimited talk, unlimited everything, unlimited internet, 5G and all that stuff. And yeah, it's a pretty good deal. It's about $140, and if you need an extra line, it's like free. So I'm pretty sure you can get a very good deal for $170, and you could probably get something cheaper than that. So that's it for cell phone, and then you have your credit cards. Credit cards, you probably won't necessarily have to have many of the credit cards, but it's a good thing to have when you're just starting out here in the States, because it builds up your credit. So I put in 200 there just in case, but normally a lot of people just pay the minimum. I wouldn't suggest for you to pay the minimum only, because that doesn't really help your credit. So yeah, so these are like just the basic things that you need. Like I said, you don't have your Louis Vuitton there. You're not gonna have your Nike shoes or anything that you probably want fancy and stuff. And so these are like the basic necessity that you would probably need here in the States. So all those things that I mentioned comes down to a total of $4,470. Okay, that's your monthly budget for all these things. Now, if you're making $38 per hour, and if you're hitting 40 hours in 2 weeks, and then minus taxes, which is 22% for the head of the household, now you have a total of $4,742.20 or 40 cents. So that then you subtract 4,742.40 cents minus 4,470, which is your total budget for the month, then you have a remainder of 272.04 cents. This can go to your savings. It's not a lot for a savings, guys. So you see, people have asked me if 31 bucks an hour enough. Like, it's really not in this era. Maybe a few years back it's well enough, but not anymore, because things have gone up, like I said. And sometimes it really depends on how you budget your money, guys. But yeah, and this is the reason why you should aim for 38 bucks an hour and 40 hours in 2 weeks. And if you can go higher than that, and that's better. Now, if you're coming here to the States and you have someone, a spouse that can also work and can legally work here in the States, it's not a bad idea to have him or her pick up a part-time job. Anything that can generate income for your family is good. Okay? So we go now to the married filers. For married filers, guys, your tax is 12% only. So see, when you're married, your tax rate goes lower. And that's like also goes depending on the bracket. So assuming you're gonna be making almost the same from 20,550 to 83,550, then your bracket, your tax rate is 12%. So for the grocery, I have it the same there, so it's $700. And then for your car, you could go higher than that if you want, if you think you have a very big family and stuff. For a car, like, let's just assume you're just starting out here in the States, so you only have one car, so $400, same thing. Leisure, maybe $200. And then home mortgage, that's your rent, $1,500, because you're probably going to want to have like a 3 or 2 bedroom apartment, because you probably have a family of 3 or maybe 4. And then medical bills, or your medical insurance, $400, and then your personal items. You could go higher than this. I've just put in $100 there, but you can do $200 if you want. Internet, maybe $150, and then utilities, heat, AC, and water. Just assuming that you're living up here in the north side of the country. And then your car insurance, $150. Gasoline, I'm putting $400 there just because, like, maybe you have a bigger family, but we could do $300. Let's just put $300 there, since you only have one car. So $300. And then we have your cell phone, $170. Basically the same as the one on the first picture. And then your credit cards, $200. And then, so savings, you don't have savings. Let's put 0 on the savings. So that's a total of 4,470. Okay, so that being said, if you're married, and let's just assume you have a husband or a wife that's legally allowed to work here in the States, so what you could aim for an hourly rate is $19 an hour. Okay, that should be well enough. $19 an hour. So if husband is making $19 an hour for 40 hours in 2 weeks, and if wife is also making $19 for 40 hours in 2 weeks, then you should have like a total of $38, which is the same as the first one. Then you'll probably make a total of $5,350 in 1 month, and that's after taxes. After taxes are already taken out, which is 12%. Your total budget is $4,470, okay? And then your total income per month is $5,354. So subtract that with your total, $4,470, then you have $880 left in your bank account. This can go towards your savings then. And then now let's go to singles. Now singles, see, among the 3 here, guys, it looks like the head of the household, if you're the sole breadwinner of the family, you're losing out more than these 2. You know why? Because for single, even though they have higher tax rates, almost the same as the head of the household, single people don't have a ton of responsibilities. So they have a lower budget. And so they can save more even though they're being taxed more. So grocery the same, $400, car $400, leisure $200, rent $1,200, because if you're single, you're probably just gonna need a single bedroom apartment. So $1,200. Sometimes you can get a single bedroom apartment for worth $900 a month. So yeah. Then you have your medical expense, $300, and then your personal items, $200. You can go higher than that because you're single, and you probably need to shop more because you're single. Now you can buy your Louis Vuitton or your other stuff that you want. Then internet, $150, utilities, $200, car insurance, $150, and gasoline, maybe 400, maybe 300, depending on. I'm just gonna put 400, just assuming because you're single, you're gonna want to drive out and be lost out there. So I put in 400 there. Cell phone 100, because you're by yourself, you probably don't need a couple lines or more than 2 lines. So then credit cards, maybe $200, and then savings, let's put in 0 for now. Okay. So then your total budget or your total expense is $3,900. Okay. Now, if you're single, you could also aim for a $38 per hour for 40 hours. Now, if you aim for this, guys, you're gonna save, for single people out there, you're gonna save quite a good amount of money. And why that is? Because if you're making $38 an hour, and assuming that your annual income is between $41,775 to $89,075, then your tax rate is going to be 22%. And if you're making $38 per hour for 40 hours in 2 weeks, you subtract taxes out of that, you will have a monthly income of $4,742. $4,742 minus $3,900, then you save $842. It's not bad. I mean, I would aim for like at least 1,000 minimum for savings a month. That would be ideal, but like anything that you can save a month is good. So I hope I've given you a good idea of what rate you should aim for, guys. So if you're coming to the States, if someone's offering you a job, make sure you do your own calculations and stuff like that. I hope I've helped you guys. If you still have any questions, let me know in the comment section. I don't want to prolong this video anymore. And then, yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and then share it with people who you think will benefit from it. And that's it. I'll see you soon. Peace out.